Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, some of the noises you might hear in the background are the air conditioner, bug zappers back there that I didn't turn off, and the swimming pool's open in the apartment complex. So it's the weekend, and a lot of people are having parties and stuff and making noise out there. But what I'm going to cover today is this double take trapper. It's in the Outdoorsman series, which has this acorn type of shield associated with it. Now, one of the first Outdoorsman series, it looks kind of orange under this light, but in natural light, it's closer to a brown, type of color. What I found out was the color can vary on this particular series because look at this. I mean, this is brown and everything. There went a pop. But, and then it's not just exclusively limited to the Outdoorsman series, because now they're starting to do the cinnamon stag bone, and they're bringing the acorn pattern back. This is a doctor's knife in that one. This is a single-bladed doctor's knife in Damascus. I have, the cinnamon stag is pretty nice. It's a little bit pricier, but man, is it done well. I mean, it's not pricey compared to what, normal traditional knives, would cost you for something like this, but it's kind of pricey for rough riders. These usually go in the 20s for them. But we're going to talk about this guy. And what Rough Rider does a lot of times, you look at some of these things and you go, wow, where did they come up with that? Well, a lot of times they're copying older patterns. They're copying stuff that's so old that we don't see it anymore, or it was rare, And that's good, because otherwise who would spend the time to hand fit and put together, something like this when they can make a lot more money on something else. But I've really grown to like these. This one's the bigger one that I got. This is another double take, and it's in yellow Darlin, and it's smaller. It's a muskrat, but as you can see, it's smaller. Now the shape kind of reminds me of, like, if you're holding like this, it looks like a dog bone, and if you're standing like this, and bring these out and everything, it kind of looks like a creature that's got some arms. Let's see if we can get it. Now you have, each one is identical. You have two, it's set up like a trapper, clip point and a spade blade. And we'll get into the individual dimensions, of it. But that's what I wanted to bring up about this, the thing that I liked about it the most. And what I think it would be classified, and it's not really a trapper, I mean, it's a double trapper. But what would you call that? And where did they get this idea? Well, they probably got it from expedition knives. This one looks like a four-bladed guy that was joined together. Now, it's not always just like a Swiss Army knife, type of thing that they get carried away with, but they're showpiece knives. And what it says on this, it fits a lot more for the description of this giant Rough Rider here. But on next, it says, I'll read from this book here. It says, these are one-of-a-kind or rarely limited production knives. They were made to serve as the centerpiece of a store or expedition display case. Most are either very large, very ornate, or both. Every showpiece knife should be evaluated on its individual merits. Big, elaborate ones with 20 more blades can be worth from $2,000 to over $150,000. Now remember, this is old prices here he's talking about. Giant jackknives and pen knives are worth from $300 to $2,000. So, right now, this guy right here, you may think, yeah, it's a gimmick, yeah, $40, that's a lot of money. Later on in life, look back at that, if they don't make them anymore, and doesn't become popular and limited run already, it could be worth more than that. Like I said, I don't really invest. I don't get knives just for investment. I get them because I like them. You know, like with the Outdoorsman series. I started collecting them because I knew they predominantly smooth, probably what they call tobacco bone. Now they make this other keyhole series that's also nice like that. The same kind of coloration that I like. This is a copperhead in that. But let's get back to this guy. Alright, as far as the nail nicks go, it's not too hard. These are pretty strong springs on these, but if you get your hands on it just right, manipulate it, you can pull them out. They lock in a pretty solid, you know, stop. I don't know. Let's see how many centimeters this guy is. So it's a little over a 3-inch blade. Cutting edge. It's about 7.5 centimeters. It's about, you know, probably a 3¼ inch overall length. When you hold it in your hand, you can actually use this. I mean, you know, your thumb rest, instead of being right here and here's the blade, is way the hell down there. But the blade's low enough, and your hand's low enough that you can do some cutting with it. Sorry, I bumped that. If you wanted to. And of course, a spay blade. You could spay a whole herd, you know, because you got this one. I don't know how much resistance testicles are to cutting, but you could probably cut quite a few of them off before you needed to go to this one. So I'd say you go through a good herd of whatever you're cutting. And yeah, but as far as like practical carry, it's flat though. It's kind of like a cell phone, you know. I mean, you've seen people carry cell phones around. It weighs probably as much as a cell phone, maybe a little bit less. Let's see how much it weighs. I'd probably, you know, like if I was carrying this, I'd probably put it in a leather sheath, some kind of like slip or something with a belt, you know, like a leather thing with a belt loop, and probably part of it exposed, you know, so you could just pull it right out. Alright, let's see how many grams this guy is. Overload. This thing only goes up to, let's see what it is in ounces. Overload. This thing only goes up to 200 grams, so I'll put it on the big scale and come back and tell you what the weight is. 223 grams or 7.85 ounces. So it's a little bit heavier than a standard Buck 110, and I carried one of those for almost 10 years. Pretty much just in a belt sheath. I did carry it in pockets every once in a while, but you really notice a Buck 110. It's thick and wider than this and heavy. But anyway, that's this knife here, and I really like it. Makes a good paperweight. Like I said, if you got a lot of papers, it looks cool because you get a whole slab of, you know, pretty nice coloration bone in there. We zoomed really close on it, didn't we? But yeah, it all depends on how they do the dyeing on the bone on these. You know, if they do it right, it looks really good. And I like this. That's the advantage a synthetic Darylin can have. I think there's a couple of advantages that synthetic Darylin can have. One is if you drop it, with this one that's heavy, it's got a good chance of being dropped. Eventually you're probably going to get pin cracks. You're going to start getting cracks around the pin where the bone, you know, just couldn't take that jar and slamming. Whereas plastic, you know, it can take that. It can take a dropping. But plastic, you put a flame on it, it's going to melt. Bone will probably char. So, I mean, everything's got its advantages, disadvantages. Let's unzoom here. Come back. So, yeah, this guy, the smaller guy, will probably make it on the scale, but we're not weighing him right now. And I know there's, you know, like a canoe pattern. I know there's a canoe and a trapper. I'm just wondering what else they did as a double take. It'd be kind of like counterproductive to do a double take doctor's knife because, you know, they're supposed to be thin and slim. So even just doing double of everything's got its limitations. I don't think I've ever seen a double take Stockman, you know, with 3 blades. You could, usually what they do instead is they go like this. They say, oh, you want multiple blades? Here you go. And it winds up being thick, wide. We'll get to this guy later. Yeah, here's another one. This one's not quite as thick. But, you know, they're using, instead of trying to put them all on one side and all on the other, they're trying to put them all side by side and back to back and end to end. And it's not done badly. You know, like, this would be like equivalent, kind of like of a double take Stockman. But there you go. I hope you found that enjoyable, unusual, informative. But it doesn't have to be exciting. Not all videos are going to be exciting. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.